Do you want to track your traffic from each particular ad set and see how different, targeting options or also your particular ad creative does not only affect metrics like click-through rate or ROAS, but how this traffic actually behaves and how it engages with your website, offer, or landing page? Well, with UTM parameters, all this and more is trackable and possible, right? With the help of UTM parameters, despite of iOS 14.5, you can track your marketing campaign's effectiveness and see how the particular ad set's traffic or ad creative's traffic performs on your landing page. And throughout this video, we're going to talk about everything that you need to know in order to be set up for success with your UTM parameters. We're going to talk about best practices as well as why to use them and when to use them properly. And last but not least, we're going to hop into our ads manager together and set them up properly. With that being said, let's hop straight into it. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video here on my channel. For all of you that don't know me yet, my name is Victor. I am the founder of Victory Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that exclusively works with e-commerce brands to help them, get their business to the next level with the help of Facebook ads. So around last time this year, at the end of the Q1 of 2020, that was for me personally the first time I ventured into UTM tracking parameters. The reason for this was unfortunately iOS 14.5, right? Before that, I was not really using so many UTM parameters in our campaigns in particular, although they're pretty much the oldest marketing tool that ever existed. However, the reason why I first ventured into it was the iOS 14.5 update that hit around May last year that unfortunately limits the ability for us advertisers to track website activity that actually was caused by an in-app advertisement. Now, before we hop into it and talk about what is actually important when it comes to UTM parameters, why should you actually use UTM parameters? So UTMs, also called urgent module, are little snippets that you add to your final URL. So UTMs were originally introduced by Google Analytics in order to tag your traffic and track it properly. So what do I mean by tagging your traffic? So let's take the example that you want to, really see in your Google Analytics that this particular type of traffic comes from your email newsletter, or maybe, this particular traffic came through your paid advertisements on Facebook. The only thing that you have to do in order for Google Analytics to properly, tag and actually identify this traffic as Facebook advertising traffic or email traffic is to add a quick UTM tag to it. Now, technically, you could use UTMs in order to tag your traffic for whatever purpose, in order to give and feed some information into Google Analytics or your particular tracking platform. However, usually UTMs are being used by marketers in order to properly evaluate their marketing campaign's effectiveness. So you can then tag your Facebook traffic and compare it to your Google CPC traffic, or you could, even segment your Facebook ads traffic by placement and monitor their cohorts engagement with your website and track the effectiveness of your campaigns. This is, when you break it down, what UTMs actually do, because ultimately it's pretty simple. They give you a proper framework to track your traffic, segment it, and actually evaluate their relative performance, against each other, and actually also have a better overview on that, usually within Google Analytics. So far, so good. This is actually what UTMs do. However, why should you as a, e-commerce business owner or Facebook advertiser actually use UTM parameters? So the first reason is pretty obvious for those of you who are already working with Google Analytics. Unfortunately, Google's native tracking software unfortunately cannot really differentiate between paid or, for example, organic Facebook traffic or Instagram traffic. The reason for this is because Google Analytics just does not really have the feature to do so, because they're tracking URLs, and when somebody lands on your homepage, when it's not within Google's native environment, meaning Google's search engine or Google Ads, then Google Analytics is pretty much just being told, okay, this is somebody that has landed on the landing page right now. We don't know why, but we'll just kind of track whether they hop onto the next side, bounce from the page, or whatsoever. UTM parameters actually solve that issue by actually providing those traffic sources or different parameters within the URL ready to be tracked by Google Analytics. So we've already mentioned one major problem that, for example, even if Google Analytics is able to see for whatever reason, because it's a referral that, kind of the traffic came from Facebook, let's say. However, it has already a lot of problems when it has to differentiate, by itself natively, whether this traffic comes from a paid Facebook ad or an organic post. But it becomes even more and more difficult when you take it a step further. When we talk about, okay, running influencer marketing campaigns, running some more kind of broader campaigns that do not really necessarily lead to, okay, somebody is using this platform and then coming onto your website and checking out. Rather, when the consumer journey becomes a little bit more complicated, Google Analytics becomes more and more flawed and has a lot of issues actually attributing this, click or even sale to a particular channel, to a particular platform. UTM parameters help with that and actually sort out not only your attribution, but also give you a better overview of where your traffic is actually coming from. Talking about the origin of the particular traffic, everybody that has worked with Google Analytics for some time, but unfortunately has not really been working or been introduced to UTMs, knows that the majority of the traffic is direct none if you do not really have a huge natural and organic reach within Google's native search engine for whatever reason, right? Usually the majority of the traffic, if you are not using Google CPC or any type of other referral campaign, the majority of your traffic will be direct none. And this type of traffic, unfortunately, gives you no real overview on the effectiveness of your marketing campaigns, where your traffic actually comes from, and what type of marketing you should double down on, or can actually evaluate the respective performance and the respective behavior, considering whether the particular marketing channel is like more of a colder or warmer audience generator. You cannot really segment, neither evaluate granularly when it comes to Google Analytics native and a basic setup, if you will, and if you're not using UTM. So when you're using UTMs properly, you can rest assured that this problem will be fixed, okay? And UTMs are being implemented super easily. We're going to talk about this in just a minute from now. However, long story short, if UTMs are implemented properly, you will be able to not only get a proper breakdown on where your traffic is coming from, but also evaluate the respective performance. And first and foremost, and in my opinion, most importantly, you can then, retarget or actually treat this and message this particular cohort accordingly and appropriately. Because, for example, somebody that has just been introduced to your brand on Facebook should be treated completely differently than a retargeting visitor that has come through to your landing page, by a display remarketing ad, that is run on a website by Google, right? Those are two completely different cohorts of your customers, and if you have more information about where your customers actually coming from, and in what kind of where they are within your consumer journey, you will be able to really go ahead and craft proper ad copy for those people that then hopefully will convert more new time visitors into loyal and paying customers. So with the help of this segmentation of, segmenting where this traffic is coming from, maybe which ad setting has actually brought that visitor or that purchaser to your landing page or introduced them to your brand, this already gives you a huge advantage to your competitors in terms of optimization and actually doubling down on what is working. But on the other hand, you can theoretically actually implement an unlimited amount of parameters within your UTMs, right? So you can track everything, not only the marketing channel that this particular user came from, or the ad setting or the ad creative, if we're talking in the Facebook environment right now, but you could technically also have what we like to call dynamic UTMs that we're also going to take a look at within our Facebook ads dashboard in just a minute, and really see, okay, are those gender like kind of have them segmented in genders, have them segmented in age groups whatsoever, and all of this will really help you to optimize your traffic and your messaging properly, and actually increase your conversion rate and increase your returns. But as I said, theoretically there are an unlimited amount of UTM tracking parameters that you could use. But there are 5 big tracking parameters and UTM parameters that usually should be enough for the kind of starter account whatsoever. So let's talk about them real quick. And those 5 parameters are: first, source; second, medium; third, campaign; fourth, content; and fifth, keyword. So with the help of those 5 variations of UTM tracking parameters, you can not only see where this traffic came from and actually tag this particular traffic as traffic from Facebook ads, email, your newsletter, or maybe like an influencer marketing campaign that you've started. But you can also see, okay, which actual ad creative, which email caused a particular click and caused the engagement introduction with your brand. So before we hop now into the Facebook Ads Manager and talk about how to properly set those up, let's also talk about the sheer purpose of them apart from the evaluation process. Because if you've been advertising on Facebook over the last year or two, you know that iOS 14.5 had a huge impact on the attribution and actual evaluation and representation or reporting of our ads dashboard within the Facebook Ads Manager. UTM tracking parameters can help, to actually evaluate and optimize your Facebook marketing efficiency and your Facebook ads returns, immensely. The reason for that is because all of those particular ad parameters or UTM parameters that you can change within every ad creative setting and every ad setting and within every campaign actually help you to evaluate and give you a more sophisticated overview of your Facebook advertising campaigns within Google Analytics. So therefore, without any further ado, let's hop straight into the Facebook Ads Manager and talk about how you can set them up and talk about our best practices here at Victory Media. Okay, so you right now know how it looks like within Google Analytics, how to set those UTM parameters up within your Facebook Ads Manager. We've talked about best practices and we've talked about why you should be using those UTM parameters in order to ensure your marketing campaigns effectiveness and proper evaluation processes. Now, one thing before we wrap it up right now, within Google Analytics, they do have a different attribution attribution system and attribution model, especially when it comes to talking about, okay, how to actually decrease or close this delta that has been caused by iOS 14.5 that actually caused a huge lack in attribution within the Facebook Ads Manager. Unfortunately, because Google Analytics has what's so-called a last click attribution, meaning they attribute the particular click on the last attributable traffic source, and Facebook ads have a first click attribution model. There is still a delta within your Google Analytics account, and therefore it is not completely being tracked there's still a delta if you will, caused by iOS 14.5, and you will not have complete transparency right now only because you're using UTM parameters. So still, you have a little bit of a, kind of consequence still caused by iOS 14.5, but after iOS 14.5, it has been a lot more useful and reasonable to have an extensive use of UTM parameters in order to have another data point. Because, as we've already discussed right now, as we've mentioned in various videos on my channel, unfortunately, you do not really have the tracking ability that we used to have with Facebook anymore. Therefore, UTM parameters can be a great add-on. So I hope this video was a help to you. By now you should know, why and when to use your UTM parameters, as well as how to set them up within your Facebook ads dashboard, and particularly if you are running Facebook ads in order to drive more awareness, traffic, or sales to your landing page and brand in general, then make sure to use UTMs going into the future in order to track your particular traffic accordingly and appropriately, and actually evaluate their respective performance and message to them accordingly. So with that being said, as I said, below this video, either in the first or second link in the description, there is the whole traffic tracking template available to you with no strings attached. It's completely free, so make sure to check that out. To wrap it up on that note, if you are interested in any type of help, for your Facebook ads, and you want to know more about, things like Facebook ad traffic, tracking templates, or how to properly track and tag your traffic, or in general, how to increase your returns, this is what we do here at my agency, Victory Media. There's also another link down below in the description to schedule into a completely free 30-minute discovery call with me personally, where we do not only talk about what we could do for you, but also, talk about your personal growth hurdles right now that you have within your e-commerce brand. We are only working with e-commerce brands between $150,000 and $10 million in annual revenue. So either way, if you're not interested in that, if you might not really fit that realm, I hope this video helped you. On that note, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you've come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.